Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and I'm playing 1854. Now, we go into a new set of operating rounds. All the companies are now started. 2 new companies started during the last operating round. We had also a lot of shares, or 2 share splits. So a lot of new fresh capital came into the companies, and that means we're going to see we're going to see some new trains coming out. We're going to go into brown and maybe even into the 6 trains. We'll find out about that. So let's see. Let's start first with the payout of the privates, and the miners will also run. Some of them maybe for the last time now. So not too many interesting happened. It's completely filled and no options for upgrades at the moment. Someone thought about upgrading this, but then I realized there is simply no tile for that because these X cities are already gone. So yeah, the best run was, I think, 110 from the 1, if I'm not mistaken. It kind of went like from here all the way here and then down here onto here. That's the best we had with a 2+ train. The 3+ train wasn't doing really well because this guy can't reach a 3rd city. They are still hoping to upgrade this, and then they're going to have a really good run. But right now they just could make this, and it wasn't that great. Just 90 or 100, I think. Okay, so now we go to the major companies, and we start with the Südbahn. And I realized one thing. For some reason I wasn't taking care about that, but now we might see a company dump. It is possible. This guy is holding 20%. Priority is here. So it is in theory possible, except when these guys start selling shares first, then no, that's actually not true, because in this game there can be an unlimited number of shares in the bank pool. So there is not the 50% limit that you usually know. So therefore, yeah, he could simply dump the company on this guy if he wants to do that. You know, it's a tough choice. I don't know. I mean, this is not a bad company. It has about $500 in here. So that is enough. It's easy for him to get a train in here. He controls 3 companies. So he is not in trouble. He is in a pretty good position. The company also has a good infrastructure. It has 3 interesting tokens here. It makes really good money. So I don't know. I mean, his advantage would be to say, okay, if I can transfer the money all in another company, then maybe I can get, I don't know, one of my companies can get 2 trains, 2 permanent trains. Maybe even both companies might be able to get 2 permanent trains if I take the $400 and transfer them somewhere else. The problem is, if I would do that, this guy would pretty sure go bankrupt. He has 2 companies that are in trouble. This one here, and then it would be also this one. And I'm pretty sure he could not. I don't know. I mean, maybe he could somehow get away with it, but it's not looking good. And that would obviously end the game. And that's something I don't really want in that position, because it seems to me that this guy, this player here, player 3, might be in a better position. I don't really know that, but he has more money in his hand, and it's hard to tell. So yeah, that's a tough choice, but my tendency is not to dump the company, simply because it is in a good position on the map. You know, if it would be something like that back here, I would definitely do it. But the Südbahn is the best company when it comes to the infrastructure, equal with the Königin Elisabeth Bahn probably, and I don't want to dump that. I think there is no reason to do it. What might encourage me to dump the company is the fact that I only hold 40%. That is indeed kind of an issue, right? So I might consider it. Right now I'm running for, let me see, now I can run the 3 train here for 110, and then I'm running here for 80, 120, 130. So if I'm not wrong, I make 240 bucks. And I'm gonna pay that out, obviously. So the Kronprinz Rudolf Bahn has its first OR up there. And yeah, they start right here, placing a tile and their first dot. And so do they want to buy a train? That's an interesting question. Technically, they are not forced to do so. And do they want to buy a 4 train? Well, you know, that's a tough choice. I mean, I could buy a 4 and a 5 train, you know, and play this pretty straight. And then I can simply buy the 4 or the 5 train here into this company. Probably the 5 train, then I can make this run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, that would be pretty cool. Both my companies would have a train, and eventually, if I get the additional money, I got enough money in there to buy a second permanent train and all that. It should be all fine, right? But maybe I can avoid to buy that train. But I don't know. I mean, I would clearly lose a run with this company. Probably also lose a run with the other one. Because I don't know. It's I think I want to buy the train. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that. It's kind of appealing to me, and maybe I would do it. I don't know, but the player is a pretty aggressive player. So the problem is he is pretty far behind in shares. So if he now decides not to run, he will basically lose the next run, which will be about 50 bucks. That's the money he's going to lose. But he could maybe save the company 320 bucks. So it is, and it's interesting if you take a look at this. If you would fall back now and then pay out, then in the follow-up operating round, you have the problem, if you pay out in the first OR, that your share value will go up, you will go here, and then you're going to lose half of your shares, and we're going to have 3 ORs. So basically you're going to have 2 ORs with only half the share value that you started with. But if I now would decide, not to buy a train now, it will drop back once, and then it will drop back again the second time. And then let me see. Yeah, okay, so basically the company would not run this operating round. But then in the following 3 ORs, I could pay out once, twice, and then I could pay out in the 3rd OR, and it would be perfect timing, basically. because then when the share split happens, that's exactly before the stock round. So maybe it's not such a bad idea to do that. You know, I think I'm actually considering this. So on a 5 or 6, I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna play it straightforward. That means I'm simply gonna buy a 4 train and a 5 train. And that costs me $850. Wow, that's a lot of money. Okay. That means I don't even have money left to buy a tunnel. But of course I can buy the train over here, but still it's painful. Okay, that's 850. So I get back $50. Okay. Well, that was expensive. But okay. The 5s are, I mean, basically all the trains are pretty expensive in this one. The high value train, the 8 train, I think it gets a little less expensive. Yeah, the 8 train is a little less expensive. Is there a 7 train? No. So the 8 train is only $900. And then there is the Orient Express for $1,200, which is one of the most expensive trains ever in 18XX, but not the most expensive train. Okay, so we didn't pay out, obviously, so we drop. And now it's the Kantner. And let's see what they're gonna do. Well, I guess they're gonna lay a tile here. I wanna do probably like this for now, and they can still upgrade this and eventually run to Venedig maybe, but right now they're gonna lay this one. And well, they can only afford a 5 train. They're definitely going to buy a 5 train. I think there's no doubt about that. For 530. Now the question is, do they want to buy a train over and transfer some money into one of these other companies? And I got to think about that. Okay, so now is the point where players are fighting for these permanents, and he has now exactly this problem, this player here with his 3 companies. He can do it. So my idea is, I got basically the choice. I can either say I dump the company on this guy. We talked about that already. And then he's going to probably go bankrupt. And if it's not, I'm sitting on 2 companies. And I can probably get definitely 2 trains in one of the companies. One of them might be an 8 train. Maybe one company holds an 8 train and the other companies had 2 small trains or something like that. The question is, can I even use these trains? And I'm not so sure, because the companies I would have then are just not that good. There is the Kaiser Franz Josef Bahn, which is really not in a great position. I mean, eventually Wien will become one large location, right? So you can drive through and go into different areas. But we shouldn't forget that we will also see the Lokalbahnen show up here pretty soon, and they will probably take some dots away here. So this is getting even more crowded. So owning a company with a dot here is extremely valuable. These dots are very, very, very valuable. And so the point is, especially this company isn't that great, and it's going to be also not that easy to make this a very good company. compared to the Südbahn. And so, but I only have 40%. So, I'm really frustrated about that thing. I think what I prefer to do is I'm going to try to get one train in each company and simply be happy that I have the presidency, which is an additional share basically. So, and the way I want to do that is I'm going to try to buy the 3 train. So basically there is now one more 5 train left here, and this is going to go to these guys because nobody else has the money. The Vorarlberger has the money or the others don't. So they're going to buy that last 5 train, which means there's only a 6th train then to buy for the next companies. So if I buy this, these guys are sitting here on $500. Okay, so the 6th train is 670. I'm going to make a little bit of income here with that. So I don't know exactly. I probably need about 150. Yeah, I probably need $150. So we gotta make change here. Okay, we can simply do it like this. So I'm gonna buy the train for $150. I'm gonna buy the 3 train. And that means now that, and this is getting a little bit confusing now, this company will be able to buy a 6th train. The problem is that this company, I'm gonna lose a run with these guys, I guess. Because with these guys, I have to buy the 4 train over. Otherwise, I will lose a run with them. And that's something I don't want to happen, because if that should happen, I will not make it over this threshold. And I'm gonna need money in here, because when this whole thing is over, I'm gonna sit here with a 5 train, here with a 4 train, and here with a 6 train. So that means I still need to buy probably an 8 train for $900. And I don't have that money here, but I have still here about 250. And if I make it across this threshold this turn, I can buy the split shares, which brings another $400 in here. Okay, great. So I might make $100 from the mail contract, probably 150. So that means in the end, I'm close to 900. I might have to throw in another $100 from my own cash. Boy, yeah, I don't know. It's not quite awesome. It's not quite what I wanted. But I think it's the best I can do. And eventually there is always this threat that I still might dump the Südbahn, because it's the topmost company. So that means the lower companies can always buy that permanent train away from it. If it would be the other way, you cannot buy. Basically, it's very hard to dump a company which has a lower value on the other players, because they are the ones that will have a train at the end of the operating round, right? Because they operated last of your 2 companies, but the more expensive company operates first, so the other company can buy a train out of it. So that makes it much more risky to invest in the more valuable companies. So that is an option. Once I have better routes here, once I see, hey, this is really looking good, I might still consider a dump. But right now, I really don't see that happen. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we are now in brown, and that means that the mountain railroads, so the privates, are closed. And in addition, it means that all the 2+ trains go away. They also rust when the first 5 is purchased. So no more runs for all these locals, except for the Uppsala Bahn, which has a 3+. Now, the locals can now merge into Lokalbahnen. And I gotta check exactly when that happens. Does it happen now immediately after we go into brown? Or does it happen in the next operating round when it would be the locals' turn? I think the latter is the case, but the rules are a little bit vague here. I gotta try to figure that out. So the rules say it happens at the end or the start of an operating round. So I guess at the end of the operating round, you ask, hey guys, you want to merge? And probably most of them will say, yeah, I want to merge. Because otherwise they don't make any money. And then you got the merger. And then in the next operating round, they have to buy a train. They can't run immediately, of course, because they don't have a train. And then they will start operating. So they will start running. I think that's the way it works. So right now we don't have to care about these guys. We have to finish this operating round. So it's a KE. And they have a 4 and a 3 train. And let's see what they can do. They are in a pretty good shape here. And we have now brown. So we could, for example, upgrade Wien. Because we hit that twice. So that is definitely a good idea. Now there's an interesting thing here. You can see that here. That looks really interesting. We have the KE can basically run. I mean, both can now run through Wien. The KE comes out here and can go in this direction, but also the others have now the option to go east, but it's still kind of split. That will change with the gray phase. Okay. So now the KE runs for, let's see what we got. We got a 4 and a 3. So it's basically 60, 90, 120, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and we got here 180, 210, 240, 250. Okay. Do I want to pay that out? Yeah, I think I want to pay that out. It will bring us new money into the company next turn or during the stock round, and that's what we need. I'm not sure how to get enough money to buy an A train, honestly. Yeah, that's a little tricky. I see that now. By the way, we are now in brown, so that means the company will get $50 out of the mail contract. That's pretty good. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we need an 8 train, right? But swallowing does not really help, because if I swallow, I cannot go over the threshold, and so yeah, that sucks too. The problem is I'm also sitting here on 80%. And that is bad because that means I can only buy 2 split shares before I am at 60%. Lots of problems here. Anyway, I'm going to pay out. I have 80%. I mean, I will definitely pay out. So the Kaiserin Elisabeth-Bahn went from 93 to 97. That means we have another share split. So I already paid out the shareholders. The shares go in here. And the certificate limit went up to 11. And now we go to the Vorarlberger Bahn. Okay, so the Vorarlberger Bahn placed a tile here, and they are simply hoping that they get a chance to place the brown, the gray tile here. Now, there are 2 problems with that. If these guys are real dickheads, they can place, they can place the brown tile like this. And then I never get in there because the gray tile also has one blank side. So that will be pretty bad. But on the other hand, I mean, these guys are also interested in having a connection to the west, right? So therefore, I paid for that connection, and I guess they're going to be happy to take it. So I'm not too much afraid of that. What could be an issue is that the gray tiles are used here, for example. So, and I cannot upgrade this city to gray as long as it's not brown. So this is a problem. Basically, somebody else has to upgrade it to brown, and then I got a good chance that I get the gray tile. But I don't know if someone is willing to do that. It's possible, but it's not sure. So I really don't know here. We'll see how it plays out. So right now I made that, and I'm going to run the 4 train 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go for 40, 70, 100, and that's 130. And I'm going to pay that out. Okay, so I got a 5 train here now. I mean, if things go really wrong, I probably still have the option. There are still 3 shares in here, so that would give me additional money, and then I can use that to kind of build with tunnels some route here. The problem with the whole thing is it's just not that great. I mean, it's a company now with a 5 train. The 4 train will be gone pretty soon, and then it's not such a great company anymore, right? It's solid, but you know, I'm really asking, how is it even possible to get a $1,200 train into your company? It doesn't seem like there is that much money in this game. Maybe it's a little different if you play with 3 players, you know, then if you shuffle trains around, and so I can see that happening, but I got a feeling it's really hard. I saw it actually once. A friend of mine, he did that. He managed to pull off that Orient Express route. He really worked the whole game on it, and he built a route from Paris to Constantinople, ended up with an Orient Express, made a shitload of money and won the game. But I think that's pretty hard to do. Okay, so I paid out, share value goes up, and bought the 5 train. And now we come to the Königin Elisabeth. No, that's not true. It's the Franz Josef Bahn. They still have a 3 train. They still can run. And now we got to make sure that this is also possible in the next turn, because we want to cross the threshold here. So I ran for 120 from Vienna to Prague. Couldn't upgrade this one because there's no green city available. They're sitting here, but they will become available soon. And then the I bought the train from the Südbahn, and I forgot when I did this train trading. It's so easy to forget because it's so unusual. I forgot to do this, but I think now I did it. The Südbahn is now sitting here. It fell down here, and that should have happened before because I bought a train from the Südbahn. Did I? Yeah, I bought the 3 train from the Kärntner, with the Kärntner. So that should have happened before, but it doesn't matter because it cannot drop any further. And the Kärntner could not have gone up, but the Kaiser Franz Joseph Bahn will go up to here now. To be honest, I don't really see a lot of, I don't really think this is super important. You know, the price changes are very little. It might have an impact on turnover, but I think until now it didn't happen. So I got a feeling like this is maybe a little bit overcomplicated. Maybe not, it's hard to tell, it really is. I mean, there is a difference if you sell now or here, it makes a little bit of a difference, but in general, I don't know. I got a feeling like this just adds more fiddliness to the thing, and it's so easy to forget. But you know, I might be wrong. I just don't have the experience. Okay, so now the Südbahn does not have any trains, so they will lose a run. But I think that's okay because I only have 20% more than the others do, so it doesn't hurt me that much. And now, what's more important, the Kaiser Franz Joseph Bahn will have another run when the Südbahn buys the 6 train, because that will destroy the 3 train, but then it still has the 4 train to make it across the threshold, and that's what it's all about. So now it's these guys, and yeah, I'm afraid they won't make it. That's the bad news. That's really the bad news here. This guy sitting on his 3 train, and yeah, I mean, he's in trouble. Right now he can make an upgrade, probably here, I guess. Okay, so it seems like this guy is going to be fine. He also, with the Nordtiroler, he only had a 3 train, but there was the Kronprinz Rudolf, which was just started, and he bought the 5 train over. Now the Nordtiroler is safe. This guy isn't doing that great, but he has a 4 train, and I'm pretty sure the 4 train will run one more time. Yeah, because this guy will be the one who will be forced. Maybe it will even run twice. I'm not sure. I don't really know. I mean, if he's going to buy... Yeah, I think actually it's going to be fine. I think we're all going to be... He's going to be forced to buy a 6 train. So he can get that 6 train, and there's going to be one more 6 train left. Yeah, no, it's going to be fine. The 8 train will not come out this set of ORs. So maybe things aren't looking that bad for these 2 players. I mean, he's going to have to pay the 6 train, which is bad. He needs $600 or something out of pocket. That's a disaster. But yeah, it sucks. For him, he's in a terrible position. But everybody else is going to be fine. The 4 trains will survive this operating round. Okay, so yeah, this is it. This is the operating round. And let's do the next one. Oh no, wait a minute. First, we're now at the end of the operating round. And if I understand that right, and I might not, this is now when the local companies might merge. So, okay, let's let's see. Let's see what happens here. So I think there's not going to be much of a negotiation going on. In the end, we're simply going to probably see a merger between the 1 and the 4 and the 5 and the 6. You know, nobody's really interested merging with these two because they have not a lot of money. So, I mean, yeah, he doesn't want to do it. He wants, yeah, that's definitely the case. Nobody is interested in merging with these two. This guy here basically is left. So the point is, if somebody would merge with him, then one of his two companies would not be able to merge because there is still this one left, and that one has the option to still run its 3 trade. So they probably will not merge this turn. They would simply lose a pretty good run with a 3 train. Now all kind of companies will simply go away, and then it's all free for this guy to make the run of his life. Right? Company number 3, they can then run from, I don't know, they can upgrade this and then can make a crazy run like whatever. They can really make a lot of money here. They can run the whole fucking map. Maybe not quite. Anyway, the thing is that, yeah, it's simply going to be these two mergers. There's no other reason. Or no reason to do it any different. And he's going to be in a much better position than this guy. So what happens is now we're going to find the Lokalbahn. So this is A, B, and C, and we can simply choose one. So because this guy has number 1, I'm going to give him the first option to merge. So he will get the A, and so both stacks of money will go into that company, and we get a little more space now on the table. These two will go away, and that means now company 1 and 4 are gone. So we simply have to remove the tokens here now, and as I said, that will give now the remaining companies a lot of space. Okay, so 1 and 4 are gone. And instead, company number A comes into play. The company number A has 2 tokens, and they will start now in one of these 2 hexes. And they can choose either this one or that one. And they will now, they will place a green tile in one of these 2 hexes, and I'm probably going to start here simply because this is closer to Vienna, and that is usually an advantage. So we're going to upgrade this, and we're going to place our home station there. There we go. And this is it. And now in the next turn, we can buy a train. Now you say, oh God, you know, how can you buy a train? It's going to cost you $1,000 or whatever. Well, the thing is, the Lokalbahnen, they don't operate the standard trains. They operate only the scrapped trains of the major companies. And these trains will be $30 above their standard value. So that means right now, the only trains that would be available for them are these here, the 2 trains. So they could buy a 2 train for $130, and they are forced to do so. They need a train. So if the 6 trains don't come out, which is not the case, right? Nobody bought a 6 train yet. There are no 3 trains available, so that means that this company has to buy a 2 train for $130. Now, you know, they might consider not to merge this turn. and wait another round, because then the 3 trains will be available. Is that so? Yeah, the 6 trains will destroy the 3 trains. That means then the 3 trains will be available, and then these guys could afford a 3 train, which means they could reach Wien. However, they might also consider saying, hey, I'm gonna buy a 2 train now on the next turn, and then I'm gonna swallow, and then I might still have the money to buy myself a 3 train. I got here about $300. So if I buy one of those, it's 130, so I would be still sitting on 170. I make about $60, maybe 70. So if I swallow, I would be at 240, right? And that would be just enough for a 3 train. So I think I'm going to go this way. And then I have 2 trains, and that's just awesome. I hope I can have 2 trains, actually. Yeah, I can have always 2 trains. So that's going to be great. Okay, cool. So we're going to do the merger, and this is it. Now for them, it's not quite as good, because they don't have that much money. So these guys, they are in a kind of a bad position, because they only have, let's see, that's 150, 60, 70. They have $170 or so, maybe 175. That is good enough for 2 train, but by far not good enough to make that a powerful company. And you know, if they then swallow with a 2 train, they're going to swallow a couple of times. I mean, they might consider maybe buying a second 2 train or something like that, but you can clearly see a difference here. Okay, and well, maybe these 2, they might be doing better. Okay, so something that's really interesting. I haven't seen that yet. So the first 2 companies to merge, they can place their tokens here, and if some of them merges here, that means this is going to be locked. So the way to Vienna from here is much harder. And that is something I had not really in mind. So actually an early merger might be more it's really tricky. That makes the company 1 and you know, these lower numbered companies even more valuable, because they get the first chance, I think, to do a merger, but I'm not totally sure about that. I gotta check that. You know, in a way, that makes a merger, I mean, there is more money in here than in these, but I wonder if it makes sense to say, hey, why don't we merge now, and I give you $110, and these people only have 75, this guy has a little more, so I don't know, but I think even in this situation, he's probably more interested in placing his 2 companies here. He's making 100% of that, and maybe if he swallows twice or so, it could be worth it. And then eventually, I think I'm going to go with that. I think it makes sense to do it like this. Yeah. So I'm gonna place. Yeah, I'm gonna merge with these guys. That's the B company. Then we're gonna place a token here. And by the way, when we start, we start here. This is where the locals start at 67. So the A and the B start now. And that means that the others can only start next turn. Okay, so these 2 also merge and that means that the 6 and the 5s are removed. Okay. So next operating round, the private companies or the mountain railroads, as they are closed here, are closed. As they're called here, they are closed, and we have only one more local company that is running, and this is the Uppsala Bahn number 3. Now technically these guys they still have a tile action. They haven't merged, so they could have done something, but there was nothing interesting to do for them. I was even considering helping the Uppsala Bahn, because they will merge, and in the end they will have more money if the Uppsala makes more money. But it wasn't possible because these tiles could not be upgraded anymore, because they have 2 blank sides, and all the brown tiles have only 1 blank side. So it wasn't possible. We could only upgrade this here. And the company ran for $180. So that's a pretty good run. And that means it's 90 for the company and 90 for the owner. And that was the last run that we will see here on this board, because now someone will buy the 6 train and then the 3+ train will rust. So the Südbahn, they didn't have a train, but they had the money to buy a 6 train. So that's what they do. For $670. They got a brand new train, and that is now another train obsolescence for all the 3 trains and for the 3+ trains. And for some people that is really bad. Mainly for this guy here, the Salzburger Bahn. All the others managed to prepare for that a little bit. Now the 3+ goes away. It's a little questionable if it was worth the $160, to be honest, but maybe it was. And there we go. And now at that point, the locals have to merge if they haven't done it yet. So I'm going to do that at the end of the operating round. Okay, and by the way, one thing I didn't show, the locals come with shares, 50% shares, and of course you can have up to 100% of your company. And usually the value here shows a 10% value of a share. But when it comes to the locals, the value shows 50%. So it's, yeah. And okay, this is pretty much it here. And now, let's see. Yeah, no big surprise. That dropped. So now we come to the KE. And they have a single 4 train left. I think I'm going to do most things now off camera here. So the KE is strongly considering to swallow. He only holds 40% because of the share split. And I'm pretty sure he's going to have to pay some of his money into the company. Also, the jumps here are not that terribly large, right? I mean, I don't know how long this thing will operate. Maybe we see 3 sets of ORs. So we kind of lose about, I don't know what that is, maybe $15, $17 per share, something like that. It's not that brutal. So I don't know. let's say eventually I'm gonna lose maybe, man, it's hard to tell. If it's 16 bucks per share and I'm gonna hold 60% or so, I know it's about $100 that I will lose because of the share value. And I could swallow now 160. So, you know, I don't see a reason not to do that. I think in the end it's going to be my advantage. So I'm going to swallow. That's okay. And the share split still, but the company will get a little less money when I buy the shares. But it's only I can only buy, I don't know, it's a tough choice then. So maybe I should pay out. I don't know. I'm a little more of a conservative player anyway. So I think on a 1 to 3, I'm gonna make it even. On a 1 to 3, I'm gonna swallow. Okay, so let's swallow. It's 160 bucks. As I said, I only own 40%, so I think it's okay to swallow here. VOB is really in a bad shape. They have a 4 and a 5 train, which is super good, but they cannot really run it. They can run the 4 train. That's what they from Vaduz. Well, they could actually run the 4 train from Zurich to Augsburg, and then they could run the 5 train from Zurich, but that is only 3 to, I don't know, I think that might be Innsbruck. I'm not sure what that actually is. Let's see. Yeah, that's Innsbruck. So yeah, they can do this. So basically, instead of running 9 overall, they can only run 7. That kind of sucks, but maybe if they're very lucky, they can upgrade this to gray next turn. We'll see. So they go for 4, 10, 13, 17, 20, 24. That's pretty good. Okay, so the Vorarlberger also swallowed. It looks a little crazy now. The player basically swallowed with both of his companies. I don't know if that makes sense, but think about this. He's holding 900 bucks in his hand. 900 bucks. This is incredible. I mean, this guy, for example, only has about 350, right? And this guy has, well, about 500, but he's got to pay for a train. So he has such a massive advantage in cash. And this, you know, we're not at the end game or something. So basically we're at the point, if you have enough money to go to the certificate limit, it might be more important to have cash in the companies than in your own hand. That might be wrong, I don't know that, and it's a tricky thing. But this guy, you know, he's not such a greedy player, he's more conservative, he's more a long-term player. So I rolled a die and I said, okay, on a 1 to 4 I'm going to pay out, and I rolled a 5. So he swallowed. It might be wrong, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. We're going to find out. So let's see. Next is the Franz Josef, Kaiser Franz Josef Bahn. There we go. They only have a 4 train. Okay, so the Kaiser Franz Josef Bahn operated. They went from Prague to Pressburg. They made 160 bucks. They had to pay that out because they wanted to reach that share split, and it happened. So yeah, we have additional shares here, and there are now 2 10% shares left in the initial offer. These are available for par value, so a little cheaper than what you usually have to pay. And yeah, fine. Then it's these guys here, the KT, the Kantner, they already have a permanent train. So, yeah, my plan was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I wanted to take some money in my hand. And by the way, we have here a gentleman's agreement that the Kantner will not lay a token here, nor will the KE for now. And that's also kind of interesting. The Kantner could do it for 40 bucks. The KE had to invest 100. So therefore, it wouldn't have been such a big deal for this player here who controls the Kärntner and the Südbahn to have this space here under control. But he also thought about his Kaiser Franz Josef Bahn. When eventually Wien will go into one, or will into one big city, the Kaiser Franz Josef Bahn might have the option, for example, to run from Prague down here to Laibach, or maybe, yeah, Laibach, maybe Venice, we'll see. This is kind of interesting, and who knows how this east-west route will end up. That's not so clear for now. Okay, so the idea for me is I want to lay a tile here, just like that, and I'm going to spend 100 bucks. Yeah, with the Kärntner, that's these guys here. They're going to spend 100 bucks, and then they're going to build a train, which allows them to skip Wiener Neustadt, that dot here. Instead, they can go directly to Wien. And do I want to lay a token in Wien? It's probably not a bad idea. I'm not so sure. In the end, this token here might be more important than the one in Wien. On the other hand, having a token in Wien is definitely good too. I think I'm going to lay a token in Wien. So it gives me 10 bucks back, and there we go. Okay, and now we can run the 5 train. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not so bad. That's 50, 90, 150. It's not that great either, but you know, eventually I'm pretty sure this is going to get better here. Of course, we always have this stupid dot here, but such is life. Kronprinz Rudolf laid a tunnel here. They upgraded this tile, and then they're going to place a token here so that they have secure access to Wien. And they have a 4 train right now. I cannot really run that to the full extent. No, they can only run here for 70 and another 60, so that's 130. And of course they're going to pay that out. I hope they don't get into trouble. They have a 4 train here, but they didn't make it across the threshold here, so I don't know if someone has to buy an 8 train or manages to buy an 8 train. It's going to be harsh for him. He has 2 companies that haven't had a share split yet. That's a tricky thing. Okay, and now we come to the Salzburger. Well, the Salzburger doesn't have a train, so they fall back, and yeah, no share split for them too. They didn't quite make it. That's really I really love that thing, you know, it's like the big finish line where you're trying to get to, and it's like a small race, right? The trains are rusting and you somehow try to make it, but yeah, they didn't. So that means the guy has to buy a train. The next available train is a 6 train. So he's got to spend 670 bucks. We got about 135 bucks in the company. So let's see. That means he's got to spend 550, 540 if I'm not, something like that. I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. Oh boy, seems like he has to sell some shares. 600, maybe he can just make it. That's 600. Yeah, he can do it without selling shares, but obviously that doesn't leave him in a great position here. So yeah, he can just do it. I think that's 675, so he gets back $5. Yeah, that sucked. So I'm pretty sure he's out of the game. I mean, he wasn't doing that good anyway, but now he's really, yeah, I mean, he managed to not get bankrupt. His problem was simply that he was basically the only guy who couldn't start a second company, which would have helped him massively to get a permanent train in there. But in this way, it was just, yeah, pretty big disaster for him. So now he's got a 6 train, and well, I mean, okay, at the moment he cannot run, but he could pretty much go here, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, pretty much from Brenner and then to Zurich without this one. He's going to have a good route. It would be good for him to bring a token in here, but I don't know if he wants to do that before. Nah, probably not. Otherwise he would have to sell a share. He couldn't have done it and purchased the train afterward. So basically he would have purchased the token from his own cash, but I don't think he wants to do that. Okay. So there we go. And then it's the NT. Okay, so all the major companies operated. Now we come to these. They simply also operate in share value. So if there was a major company cheaper than them, they would have operated before there. But okay, so the company A, the Lokalbahn, starts. Both companies are located here. So, well, they can lay tracks. So I guess that's something they want to do. So, they simply want to upgrade this, I guess. There's not that much where they cannot use that. Oh, it's this one. Look, that's the last brown track, actually. Interesting. So I think we're going to place it like this, then. Okay. There we go. The last brown city. Crazy. There's one here though, and when the merger happens, all these tiles will become available again. Now let's see. He can now buy a train, and we already said that they are gonna buy the scrapped trains from the major companies. So right now 2 and 3 trains are available. Funny thing is, now eventually the 4 trains also will become available. They will be expensive. The trains cost $30 more than they usually would. So if a minor company would want to buy a 4 train, it would cost them $350. Not easy to get that much money. But if they do that, that would actually rust all the 2 trains of the other minor companies. So there can be basically a second train obsolescence in this game, which is funny. Now, right now, The question is basically, can I afford such a big one? And I can do that. I got a lot of money sitting here. So I can afford a 3 train, which is really cool because that will allow me to run like this. And I might even consider laying a tile here. The question is, how much money do I have? The 3 train costs me 230 bucks, and I have enough to lay a token in here. So I have this for sure. And I hold 2 shares, and they then will give me at least 140 bucks. I get 100% for these 2 certificates. So these are pretty good certificates then. And it will get more when Wien gets an upgrade, and maybe one of these might become gray. So this is really a very, very good company then. So let's see. Do I want to lay that tile? Absolutely. I own the Salzburger Bahn, so I don't care if this is blocked or not. It only has a 6 train. It will operate probably down here. So I definitely want to place a token there, which is a little bit nasty right now, maybe for the KE or something. But eventually Wien will become one big city anyway. So let's see. Got to spend 230 bucks for the train. And we got to spend 40 bucks for the token. Let's do that. Yeah, pretty good. Now that obviously gives me also a massive advantage over company B. So that shows again that the lower numbered companies, because they get asked first if they want to merge, that they are in a big advantage here. So the 3 train is permanent. The 2 trains can rust, but the 3 trains are permanent now. Okay, so I didn't pay out, I had to buy that train, so I drop in value. And now company B, I mean, okay, for them, it's not that great at all. So they're, shit. Is there a way to get to Wien? Well, I mean, they can hope that this becomes gray, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I really don't know. Here's the thing. I only have money for a 2 train anyway. Maybe I consider buying a second 2 train and then kind of run like this and like that or something. I would still make good money that way. But of course there's the risk that then somebody might buy a 4 train. But I think that is not terribly likely. The 4 trains are really expensive, and I don't think this is going to happen. But right now I'm going to buy a 2 train because I cannot afford anything else. That will cost me 130 bucks. There we go, and that leaves me with 40 bucks. So I don't know, if I swallow once, even if I swallow once, I couldn't afford it. If one of the 2 tiles becomes gray, then I could just do it with a single swallow. But right now it's not possible. Okay, so value drops. And this is the end of this operating round. So what we're going to do now is we're going to merge these last 2 companies here into another Lokalbahn. So this one will also start at 67. They are allowed to lay a green tile here. They place their home station there, and obviously for them it's all not that great. They're pretty much cut off. They have enough money to buy a 3 train though, so that might be worth something, but they can only do this next turn. So they will fall back 1 turn and make no money, and then next turn they can start running their trains. And now at that point, there are also no more local companies operating here. The map is empty, no more tokens. So now all the tiles get removed, the map goes away, and the tiles go back for reuse here. Okay, this is it. Hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.